You know those moments when something you've always heard, like just common knowledge, maybe doesn't quite line up with what you actually see?
Oh, definitely. Like a gardening tip everyone follows, but your own plants seem to have missed the memo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've certainly had that happen. Well, today we're kind of digging into one of those situations. We're going to explore a really common plant, Lantana Camara. You've probably seen it around.
Very familiar. Bright flowers, quite popular.
Yeah, and we're basing our discussion on this really interesting piece by someone named Ang. It's called Notes on Gardening, Part 590. Does Lantana Camara really need full sun?
Mm.
Came out July 10th, 2025. And hey, thanks to you listeners for pointing us towards this source.
It's a good one because Aang questions something pretty fundamental.
Right. If you look up Lantana, the advice is crystal clear. Full sun. Like 6 to 8 hours minimum every day for it to do well.
It's basically the first rule you learn about it.
But Ang's experience, well, it tells a totally different story. It really challenges that standard advice.
So that's our mission for this deep dive, right?
Yep. Let's unpack what Ang observed, figure out what it means for how we think about growing plants, and maybe even about questioning, accepted wisdom more broadly.
Okay, sounds good.
So let's start with that baseline rule everyone repeats for Lantana Camara. Any guide, most gardeners.
Full sun, non-negotiable.
Exactly. 6, maybe 8 hours of direct sun daily. That's supposedly what you need for it to thrive. That's the standard playbook.
And that's precisely why Aang's findings are so, well, fascinating. Because the common knowledge says one thing, but Aang's actual experience, it just flips that script entirely. They've been propagating lantana cuttings for months.
Right.
And the really interesting part is how these cuttings weren't just like limping along, they were thriving.
Thriving how?
Well, thriving despite Aang admitting to being pretty sporadic with watering and feeding them.
Huh. So not exactly pampered.
Not at all. Which kind of goes against the idea that they need constant, perfect conditions and all that intense sun.
And Ang specifically noted positive signs, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't just okay growth.
Absolutely. Aang mentioned really vibrant foliage, good, healthy growth overall.
And crucially, none of the telltale signs you'd expect if a plant wasn't getting enough light.
Exactly. No leggy, stretched out stems.
Reaching for the sun?
Right. And no pale, yellowish leaves that usually scream, I need more light.
Which seems to fly directly in the face of that full sun or bust rule.
It really does. I mean, the lack of legginess and pale leaves, that's key. Those are classic signs a plant is light-starved. The fact Aang's cuttings showed none of that, even without tons of direct sun, it suggests something else is going on. Maybe they adapt, or maybe the full sun advice is more for, I don't know, different climates or older plants.
Okay, so if the cuttings are doing great with less sun, here's the twist.
The mature plants.
Yeah. Ang's mature lantanas, the ones that were getting the recommended 6 or more hours of direct sun.
Well, let me guess, they weren't happy.
They were the ones developing yellowing leaves.
Wow. Okay, so the ones following the rules were showing stress signs. That really makes you pause.
It does. What's going on there?
Well, Aang suspected maybe a fungal issue or something off with the soil mix or watering for those mature ones.
Which could be true, sure. Plant problems can be complicated.
Definitely. But, considering Aang mentioned dealing with harsh tropical weather,
Okay, good point.
could it be that full sun in that specific tropical climate is actually too intense for a mature lantana?
Like sun stress.
Exactly. Too much intense heat and sun can cause problems, like yellowing leaves. Sometimes that looks like a nutrient issue or disease, but it might actually be sun scald or heat stress.
So the recommended full sun might actually be detrimental in certain conditions.
It's possible. It just shows there are so many variables beyond just sun or shade. Climate matters hugely.
That makes sense. It reminds me, people always say herbs like basil need full sun, but mine always does better with some afternoon shade when it gets really hot here.
It's a common thing for gardeners to discover. Aang's experience isn't unique in finding these exceptions.
So tying this all together, Ang's overall take on Lantana Camara seems pretty mixed.
Yeah, definitely nuanced. It's not simply good or bad. It's more like, here's what I actually observed in my garden. It reflects that real-world experience.
That's right. So on the plus side, Ang does say it's a massive bloomer.
Prolific, yeah. If flowers are your main goal, it delivers that constant color.
But then there are the downsides, Ang pointed out.
Mm-hmm.
The flowers apparently don't handle that harsh tropical weather very well. They get beaten up.
Which is a big deal if you live somewhere like that.
In the growth, Ang described it as pretty slow.
Okay, so maybe not the fastest grower.
And a big one for many people, myself included, definitely not safe around pets or kids. suggests it's toxic.
Yeah, that's a common concern with lantana. You have to be careful where you plant it.
So quite a few negatives there.
Yet, despite all the weird sun response, the weather issues, slow growth, toxicity, Aang's final thought wasn't about giving up on it.
No.
No, it was about wanting to get the best out of this plant species in their garden.
Ah, the true gardener's spirit.
Exactly. That constant adaptation, learning, figuring things out. It really highlights that gardening is this ongoing process, right? Observing, adjusting, working with the plant and the environment.
Which loops us back perfectly to the main point today, this core contradiction.
Oh, right. The standard advice. Full sun.
Versus Aang's actual results.
Yeah.
Cuttings thriving with less sun and sporadic care.
And the mature plant struggling with the supposed ideal amount of sun.
It really drives home how valuable just watching your own plants can be.
Absolutely. General guidelines are great starting points, obviously, but they can't capture every single nuance.
Like the specific climate Aang mentioned.
Exactly. That harsh tropical weather is a huge factor, or even just the difference between a young cutting and an established plant. They might need totally different things.
Aang's hands-on experience gives us that deeper layer of understanding you just don't get from a basic guide.
Individual observation is key.
So it really makes you think, doesn't it? If Aang's gardening observations can challenge widely held botanical advice, what other truths are out there, maybe in your own life or your interest, that could use a second look based on your own experience?
What assumptions are maybe ready for a little personal experiment?
Something to ponder.